Hello and welcome to Battery TV. This is the preview, and I am Dana Lucas here in the Three Lions Club. And it was Charleston last week who got started off with a fiery contest to open their 2014 campaign in USL Pro, taking on Orlando City here at home with a 1-1 draw against last year's USL Pro champions. Dana Lucas with Dan Conover, head writer and founder of chssoccer.net. Dan, thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Quite the way to start the season.
Yeah.
Richmond in the second week, Orlando City to start off with. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, first off, there's no tougher way to start the season if you're the Battery. Those have been the two best teams and really are rivalry teams in the last few years.
Orlando City winning the title last year, Richmond with the regular season title. And let's talk a little bit about this weekend coming up because it's going to be a great match. Two teams that are evenly matched since 1993, 22-22-4, split right down the middle.
Not a dime between them.
Yeah, there's not really a dime between them. Talk about Richmond. They've got Matthew Delicate, who is their all-time leading scorer. Some really other good players. Michael Seaton coming back from the team last year.
Right. And Seaton is quite a guy. He's quite a story, just in the fact that he's the first player to sign an MLS contract who was younger than the league. And but he's more than just that sort of novelty story. He's also a very serious striker with speed and some skill. He's very young. We just saw him in the Challenge Cup playing for DC, and I think we can handle him, but he's going to definitely give him some dynamism up front. George Davis, who was with the LA Blues last year, is in camp with them, and we're expecting probably to see him. He was actually here in camp with the Battery 3 years ago. So powerful player, good striker. The defense has been really their calling card. And I know we expect them, or the coach expects them to defend well as they always have. Not too much change on their back line. Basically the core of their defense and midfield probably going to be on the field here to start their season.
Richmond, of course, got the season opener last year, 4-1 in Richmond, and then it went all the way undefeated up until the beginning of August. Charleston hosted them, and then they ended up beating them 5-2. Big game, first loss and only loss of the regular season. So obviously a big game coming up here this weekend.
Let me tell you, the first game of the season last year against Richmond in Richmond was more than just a loss. It was a season-affecting, season-influencing game. The Battery went in there with people healthy, came back with people hurt, went in there flying high, and came back thinking we need to be a little more cautious on the road. It changed the way that they played for a while. Beating Richmond, if you talk to the players, several of them will tell you that was the high point of their season. Not just because it was Richmond, which was important, not just because they played well, but because everything came together. They played well, they beat their rival, and they ended their greatest winning streak. And that's the kind of thing that motivates competitors.
Let's talk about the Charleston Battery for a second. A game in, and Coach Anheuser's still working around with his new guys. How is the philosophy of the team starting to inject into the rest of the squad?
I think it's evolving. That's my opinion as an observer, but Mike Anheuser has never had this many attacking options this early in a season. That doesn't mean that they're all, firing at peak efficiency yet, but it does suggest that he now has the opportunity with these players from Vancouver who've come in, and with his improving returning players, people like Eviel Cordovez and Michael Chang, who've really come along. He can mix and match in ways he didn't have the option to do in 2013.
Coach Anheuser has stressed this whole season that the importance of taking points from home games, home matches. 3 points, obviously, very important here this weekend, as all of them are at home. Let's get a chance to listen to Coach Anheuser about his thoughts on the game here against Richmond.
It's a game where it's always been 50-50, really home and away. Doesn't seem to matter. It's the team that really takes their chances. We've won a few up there. They've won a couple here, so it's not like we always win at home and they always win at their place. It's definitely a game where both teams are good. If you don't come prepared, or if you make a mistake, they'll make you pay. And we're the same. If they make a mistake and they don't come here prepared, we're going to make them pay, because we've had games where we've won 4-1, and they've had games where they've won 4-1. But we've also had a lot of games that are 1-0. and nail biters. So, we've got to be ready. We want to press. We want to create chances. We didn't create that many chances against Orlando, so we're hoping to pick that up. But we had a few new players in, and, that continuity is getting better every week. We had a good week of training, and, getting Omar in and getting him, seeing what his strengths and weaknesses are, and all the other guys seeing them for another week has been fantastic. And so now everybody's starting to get on the same page of what each and every player can do.
There will certainly be a few changes to the starting 11 this weekend as opposed to last week, and obviously Colin Falvey coming back from suspension. Quentin Griffin got the late red card last year.
Yeah.
Exactly, he will get the suspension here this week. But Taylor Mueller also was a little banged up coming off of the field in the late part of the second half. So give us a rundown of your starting 11.
It's just a guess, but if I had to, picking it today, I'm looking at Jackson Farmer on the right, Colin and Sean in the middle, John Wilson out left making 2 in a row, and then in the midfield, I think center defensive mids, Jared Van Schaik and Amadou Sanyang are going to be fixtures all year. Then we get to the attackers, and you can really mix and match with those. But right now, I would expect to see Zach Prince out wide, and I'm going to say Andre Lewis to make his first start. Then up front, that probably leaves us with Omar Salgado making his first start, and maybe Mamadou Diop.
All right, well, you heard it here first here on Battery TV. Dan, thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you guys at 7:30 here at Blackbaud Stadium as Charleston takes on the Richmond Kickers.